Everly Heights Tales presents The Trials of King Sparrow, Part 1, Left to the Wolves. We flew across the purple skies as the sun sank behind the field below. I veered south, my queen at my side, my captain and squire close behind. The winter wind whipped the tips of our tail feathers.
King Sparrow, when might we rest?
Called Captain Sparrow.
Look at our host. See how they whisper to each other? If we don't rest soon, we'll have a mutiny on our hands before we get as far as the Great Mountain.
I looked back. My loyal subjects, my host, flew behind me. Chests puffed out and beaks turned up. Their eyes betrayed their weary resentment. I nodded to Captain Sparrow. Agreed. Fly ahead and find us a safe place to sleep. Give a whistle and we'll join you at once. Captain Sparrow chuckled, which was concerning. In the years he'd been my second in command, I'd never once heard him laugh. Captain Sparrow was a solemn bird. He spent his time watching over us and only spoke when he had something important to say. It's what made him a good captain, and it's why his laugh struck me as odd. As if she could read my mind, my queen chimed in.
Captain Sparrow, who knew you felt happiness? Are you broken? Who taught you how to laugh?
She glanced at me to see if I found her clever. I did. Captain Sparrow banked his wings, drifting too close to Queen Sparrow.
Were you to address me more often, my queen, I might never feel sad again.
Queen Sparrow dipped in the air, shocked by the captain's forward nature. I was concerned, but long journeys make birds do outrageous things. A rude comment was tame. I've seen a sparrow rip out his brother's throat over a decayed worm cooked in the desert sun.
Go now, Captain, before my king forgets his manners.
Oh, of course, your highness. No offense meant, my liege.
Captain Sparrow bowed his head in a show of reverence, then dove sharply down to the field below.
I will not miss him,
Queen Sparrow said as she glided up next to me. I brushed my wing against hers and felt the jolt in my chest I felt every time we touched. Captain Sparrow is tired. Once we arrive at our winter home, he'll be better.
What if he isn't?
Then we'll execute him and replace him before flying home. I already have a bird in mind who couldn't bother you if he tried. I glanced back and realized the bird I was praising wasn't where he was supposed to be. Squire, do your duty. Squire Sparrow came up beside us. When the captain ran off on a mission, Squire Sparrow stayed close by, ready to fetch him at the first sign of danger. Don't misunderstand. I'm a capable fighter, more than able to fend off an eagle by myself. The captain happened to be a better one. The sun disappeared, but the moon shone bright, and I could still see a glint of light in my queen's eyes as we flew side by side, like we always did and always would.
Sir, your majesty, how old were you when you became king?
I became king when my father, the old king, died, so I was 1 year old.
I'm already one. I'm so much smaller than you are. Will I ever be big enough to be a king like you?
I smiled at him. Would that I could ask such stupid questions with such earnest curiosity. Those days were long past. One day, but big wings don't make you strong like a king. A spider's web can catch a sparrow because he takes care with every strand, not because his spinnerets are big. A whistle from down below. Captain Sparrow's call. Stay high. Nobody go down until I make sure it's safe. As I banked down, I saw him low to the ground. It appeared the captain was having a discussion with the tall grass, but when he noticed me, he snapped to full attention.
Oh!
Was he talking to himself? Had years of conscription driven him mad? Too soon to say, but I grew less confident that he'd return with us in the spring.
Wait here, sire. I think I hear a beast in the brush.
Although he looked around as if he expected somebody any moment.
Sorry, it was nothing.
As I reached his side, he tossed a hasty glance over his shoulder.
Oh, do you know what? I fear there may still be trouble. 1 second, my king.
He flew off to investigate, leaving me flapping in the breeze. I flew in a circle a foot above the grass while I waited. After a time, Squire Sparrow flew down to check on me at the Queen's behest.
Hey, King Sparrow. The Queen asked me to come check on you. She seemed pretty darn worried, sir.
Get back to your station, Squire.
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
I waved a wing to my queen, who spun around in the air as she blew me a kiss. We were in love, maybe more than we ever realized, considering what happened next. A biting wind blew through the grass, exposing the dirt beneath. Flurries started falling down around me. It was too early, wasn't it, for snow? Rest we must, but if winter was rolling in, we needed to rest quick, then get back in the air. My father once told me about an entire generation who died because his father decided to wait out the snow. The cold was harsh, but the snow driving the worms underground and covering any seeds is what killed them. Few survived. By the time he inherited the crown, our host was only a few sparrows strong. In time, he recruited new birds into the fold and made the birds already with him pair off to restore the host. Something shifted in the grass below me. I spotted a glint of red through the greens. A sound like cicadas playing their song. It shot down my back like a drop of cold water. My wings grew stiff. Then I heard breathing. Like a stupid mammal, all phlegm and wet. Heavy and labored. Whatever the beast was, he was hungry and much larger than me. Captain, snap to it. I prayed the beast below didn't speak our language. Some animals were smart enough to speak several languages, but mammals tended to dig their heels in and refuse to learn any language besides their own. A frustrating mindset, particularly when trying to negotiate territory in the forest. No sign of Captain Sparrow. The smart decision was to wait for him to return. The kingly decision, meaning the decision that serves the royal ego best, was to dive in head first and solve the problem. Guess which option I chose. The blades of grass grazed my belly. A dark form burst out of the brush. It must have smacked me, but I don't remember it. I remember seeing motion, a paw covered in black fur with gray pads and sharp claws. The paw did its damage. Before I could react, I was on the ground looking up at the snowflakes floating down. Or was it the stars? Who could say? The pain started, first in my flank, then down my whole right side. Where was the beast? It was dark now, pitch black. The moonlight leaking down through the grass didn't illuminate a thing. I saw familiar birds in the sky. My host, my queen, and my squire flew around like leaves in the wind, leaderless, directionless, afraid. It broke my heart. Here I was, meant to see them safe through the journey, injured on the ground, with monsters ready to devour me like a ripe fruit. Captain Sparrow flew up beside them.
Back into formation, you flitwits!
He flew south. The others followed, save the queen. She circled the field, looking down through the grass for me.
King Sparrow, where have you gone? King Sparrow.
I'd expect nothing less, but I hoped she had sense enough to stay back, lest the beast strike her as well. Captain Sparrow came back after her.
Come back, my queen, or else.
I looked on in horror as Captain Sparrow reared back his wing and smacked Queen Sparrow across her beak. I couldn't believe it. My own captain striking my queen. I refused to allow this to go on any longer. I couldn't let this stand. I flipped over, swaying on my legs as I found my balance, then off into the air to save her. Or not. Only one wing would move. The other hung heavy on my shoulder. I tried again. No use. I pulled my anger into a final desperate yell. They never heard it. They flew south to find the others, leaving their king prostrate in a field with no way to fly after them. Those red eyes again, peering at me through the grass. Then more eyes to the east. Then another pair to the west. And another, and another, and another, until it was obvious that I was surrounded by no less than 8 beasts. They snarled at me. One barked. Canines, maybe? I recognized their words. Partner, safety, kill. I squawked and beat my one working wing. Maybe if I could appear bigger or erratic, they would leave me be and go find an easier meal. A mistake, it turned out. As they closed in, I realized that they were too large to scare away. I smelled the blood on their breath as they stepped into the light. The spit dripping off their jowls told me they were ready for more. I am a king. I don't surrender. We fight. I tear into them as hard as they tear into me, using my small size to wriggle through their clumsy appendages. It's all damp and warm and slippery and hot, and my feathers are soaked, and I couldn't get my bearings. I fell. Claws, teeth, blood, beak, red eyes in the dark. I plucked the beast's eyes from his head, left it hanging by a nerve until he knocked it into the dirt with his paw. The beast fell, but the rest of his pack had my scent. I scurried atop the rock as their snouts sniffed around the dirt and leaves. My heart beat hard enough to fluff up the feathers on my chest. My wing ached. If I stayed in the brush much longer, these feral monsters would take far more from me than a simple wing.
It's your right to fight back, King Sparrow.
A growl from the brush in my native bird tongue. Curious. A beast stepped out not 3 feet from me, snapping its jaw while flaring its nostrils.
Please, try your best. We aren't afraid of little birds.
Fly. That small mind shouted at me. Fly. The little alarm that screams at you to keep you alive. Fly. When a sparrow hears this voice, be he king or no, he must obey it. The pain in my shoulder melted away as I shot out from the grass. I flew 40 feet and then took off toward the trees surrounding the field. They'd provide cover even if the beasts gave chase. Once I was up and pointing in the right direction, I only had to glide. The wing held. Maybe I misjudged the wound's severity. I grew confident it would carry me to safety. Once in among the trees, I banked my body left to avoid the tangled branches. The added motion caused my shoulder to ache. It clicked. The weight of my wing returned. Compounding dangers compelled me to ignore my injury, but it felt like a rock strapped to my body. I fell toward the ground. A branch caught my middle toe and yanked it. Others left scratches across my chest, face, and eye. I felt no pain. The mounting doom soothed me somehow. Once you accept you're powerless, you can observe the situation with rational detachment. I am falling. I am dying. I will die when I hit the ground. These emotions didn't make me sad or fearful. They were facts like the direction the river flows, immutable, unchangeable. I watched with intellectual curiosity as the dry leaves on the ground rushed toward me. I landed, then nothing. No color, no sound. Who knows how long it lasted? When I awoke, I felt a purple pain raging in my shoulder, then a dull brown pain that anchored me to the ground. A dark figure hovered above me. I heard its wings subtle rustle. My vision adjusted to the light, revealing him, Captain Sparrow, the bird who'd hurt my queen. I demand you come down here at once. He flew around in circles as he threw back his head.
My friends! Hey, my friends!
Was he calling for the others?
My friends over here, my friends!
Maybe I'd misjudged him, or mistaken what I'd seen for something darker. He'd always been loyal. He stopped, then looked me dead in the eyes as the beasts howled off in the distance.
Over here, idiots!
Of course. If the beasts spoke our language, they must have been who Captain Sparrow was addressing when I approached him. That's how they knew my name. My captain told them. But to what end?
Captain, don't dally. The snow gets worse every second.
Any sign of him?
Captain Sparrow turned back toward the voices.
I see no sign of that slippery sparrow,
He called as he faded away in the distance. I called out, but my voice didn't travel far. My queen, Squire Sparrow, don't leave with that scoundrel. Come back and save your king. No answer. I'd even missed my only chance to glimpse her one last time. I laid back in the leaves, looking up at the moon shining through the trees, considering if I should even attempt to hide from the oncoming storm. What good is a sparrow who can't fly anyway? He may be an awful bird, but at least Captain Sparrow could fly my host to our shelter from the cold. As my senses returned, I realized I had a thick twig under me. I rocked my body off the injured wing, hoping to reduce the pressure so I could stew in peace. I tilted a touch too far, which sent me rolling down a small hill over the crushed leaves. I laughed at myself. Some king, eh? Broken wing and landlocked. I was about as far away from a king as I could get. Back to survival. I could have an existential crisis after I was safe. With a little work, I climbed to my feet. The toe I'd caught on the branch ached. My wing felt dead, but I could move it if I pushed through the pain. The beasts would have come from the southeast, so I limped along in the opposite direction. When I'd pass the odd plant, puddle, or dung pile, I'd brush my body against it to pick up its smell. If I confused my scent enough, maybe the beasts would give up and turn back. As I marched through the fresh powder, I pondered what my subjects might be going through. How would the captain treat them? If his assault on Queen Sparrow was any indication, they'd be mistreated and untrusted. That's no way to rule a host. My stomach ached. The injuries and exertions had sapped my strength. When I came across some maggots crawling on an abandoned apple core, I devoured them before my royal manners could stop me. As I licked bits of bug off my beak, I heard the beasts. Hot, steamy breath. Red eyes all around me. Yellow fangs reflecting the moonlight.
See the mighty King Sparrow, my brothers, and prepare your bellies for his bounty.
I shrugged my broken wing. It flopped limp against my body. Please, there's no need to kill me. Time will do it soon enough. I am no longer fit to be king. The captain will find no rival in me for the throne. What did he give you? I can give you more.
He gave us you.
Two beasts jumped in my path, their snouts inches away before I could react. They sniffed around me, puffs of putrid hot breath blowing through my feathers down to the flesh. I wanted to attack. I wanted to run. However, it was I who started negotiations. A negative response on my part could spoil them. So could a bite through my neck, of course. The larger beast recoiled, turning up his snout to expose his teeth. He gestured to my broken wing with his paw.
His smell is off. His meat is spoiled.
Another beast took a sniff.
Infected. Sour. We took too long, brothers. Back to the hunt.
They ran off, their howls echoing through the trees. I was saved. But to what end? The only thing that stopped them from eating me was the infection in my wing. My flesh was no longer fit for pack animals. This slight didn't point to a favorable fate. I limped along, looking for some place I could rest. Best not to consider darker outcomes. I marched alone in the dark for what seemed like hours. Darker and darker and darker. The wind faded with the moonlight. I woke up with my beak in the dirt and no idea how long I'd been there or even where there was. I saw sparkling lights floating down past my face. I assumed the infection had spread to my eyes, soon to my brain, then the end. When one sparkle hit my eye, the cold turned to moisture. More snow? An early winter. Figures. I haven't traveled far enough. Or fast enough. I must find the host. In heart, I wasn't King Sparrow any longer. I was Sick Sparrow, Injured Sparrow, marching to find a shelter I might never find, doomed to lay under the snow and ice until the spring thaw, when my stale feathers would get pilfered by lesser birds for their nests. What indignity! What disrespect! On I marched. I came upon a tree with a hollow cove nestled between its massive roots. Shelter, I hoped. As I approached, I heard a frantic skittering language. A raccoon? No. Too high-pitched, and raccoons were too big to live in a hole in a tree. I peered over the root to discover a squirrel running back and forth to move his children behind a large cache of nuts he'd piled in the back. Squirrels are finicky creatures who are easily threatened. Any word was a threat if one didn't maintain a soothing, natural tone. The squirrel crawled up to me, wiggling his nose as he looked me over. "I mean you no harm," I said in what I hoped was the proper inflection.
Then why are you spying on my house with Old Lady Winter rolling in?
I aim to survive her, good squirrel, shrugging my shoulder to show the squirrel its uselessness. I'm hurt. My captain betrayed me as well. I only mean to live long enough to make him pay for his crimes.
Silly bird. If you were strong enough to be betrayed, you should be wise enough to know that revenge goes against every value we squirrels stand for.
I had him. Ah, yes, but I also know no squirrel would ever let another creature die if the squirrel could help it.
Oh, 'tis true, good Sparrow. But you've forgotten we squirrels protect our children above all else. And a bird with revenge in his heart isn't an appropriate guest in a home where children are present.
The squirrel swooped around, snatched a nut off his stack, and threw it at my feet.
Let me grab these. Here, this is all I can give you. Good luck on your travels, kind Sparrow. May you live long enough for your injuries to heal. It's a rarity these days.
I was disappointed, but I understood. If we ever had little fledglings, I wouldn't want a cruel, injured stranger staying in our nest, especially one with so many troubles. Farewell, good squirrel. Thank you for your kindness. It shall not be forgotten.
Well, farewell to you too. What a nice bird.
I came to a small creek bed. A log covered in green moss lay nearby, hollowed out and unoccupied. I backed into the tunnel, pulling leaves in behind, then stacking them together to form a little cushion. I laid there for hours, watching the snow fall outside as the cold wind blew through. The pain from my injuries made it difficult to sleep. But in time, the cold numbed even my more grievous injuries. I closed my eyes. I heard voices in the ether singing a sparrow dirge. Or was it a lullaby?
It's time to sleep. The seeds will keep. To sleep, to rest. Within our nest, a princely boy, a mother's joy, a father's light against the night. The small wings fold, shields us from cold. Chirp, chirp, cheep, now fall asleep, you'll wake again, my royal friend.
When I awoke, my makeshift log nest was covered in snow. As I rocked myself onto my feet, my wings screamed at me. I felt stiffness in my hind neck like there was a stick jammed in it. I glanced down to see my shoulder was twice the size it was the evening prior. The leaves I'd used as a nest were covered in a putrid yellow liquid that leaked out of my wounds as I slept. No wonder the beasts couldn't find their appetite. I pecked at the snow for a moment until my beak popped through the other side. I created a pinhole, allowing a thread of sunlight in. I pecked some more until I made a hole large enough to crawl through. The snow outside was already melting. Water drops fell from the branches above as I struggled through the slush on the ground. It came up past my belly, which would have made it hard to walk at a decent clip, injury or not. By hopping while I flapped my good wing, I could travel a little faster, but nowhere near fast enough to outrun the cold. A dusting of snow fell off the branch above me. I heard a hiss, then noticed gray fur poking out around the branch. Its striped tail twisted around in the air like a snake about to strike. Was it a raccoon or a cat? How could a cat make it up a tree covered with ice and muck? If my father taught me anything about cats, it's that they hate water and trees in equal measure. He also said any cat up a tree was probably stuck there. Thinking myself safe, I chose to have a little fun. "Ho there," I called, hoping the cat knew enough Sparrow to make sense of my words.
Fly away, little bird, before I cut your intestines to warm my paws.
A nasty cat, but strong and to the point, which is a quality any bird of privilege can respect. I decided I'd only harass him a little. "Do you think me dumb, pussycat? I can see you're stuck up there." The cat stayed low to the branch, creeping out toward the end.
Do I look stuck to you? I can climb any tree with the grace of my forefathers.
"So you move like the dead, then?"
No, but you will before I'm done.
A low purr right in the cat's chest. His oval eyes narrowed, whiskers twitched. He crawled out another foot. From the ground, I saw the branch bend under the cat's weight. It was ready to snap. This presented me with an interesting choice. Should I warn the cat, saving him from a gruesome fall, or should I let him continue and hope the fall would render him unconscious? I decided I'd warn him. The worst that could happen is he'd get angry with me. Since he'd already threatened to gut me, it didn't seem like such a risk. Stop or you'll fall. Please, I'm only looking out for you." The cat regarded me with caution as he twisted his head around to see the bent branch behind him. He yelped, jumping up into the air. His exertion on the already stressed branch destroyed it. Snap! The branch, the snow, and the cat hung in the air for a blink before it all came raining down on my head. The cat crashed a few wingspans away. I edged a little closer. Then closer still. No motion from the cat. I felt the heat pouring off his mammal flesh. Even through his fur, it felt like fire. An idea. I could cuddle up with the body to warm myself. Then another, more poetic idea. I could pry open the cat's gut and crawl inside to stay warm. A bit macabre, but we kings of air do what we must to survive. It's not like a dead cat would notice the intrusion anyway. I hopped up on the cat's flank, then scraped my beak across my good wing. Sharp enough to cut flesh, I reckoned. I pushed the tip into the cat's stomach, then raised it back to bring it down with force enough to puncture the skin. I prepared to peck my way through his guts to shelter. Too close. The cat awoke. I stepped back, afraid his feline instincts were taking over. His eyes fluttered open. He threw a disdainful look in my direction, then licked his lips as he yawned, exposing 2 rows of tiny, sharp teeth.
Why are birds so annoying?
Why are cats so pompous? We are both slaves to our nature. You were almost dead. I woke you up, or else you'd have frozen. Surely that's enough for you to shrug off the shackles of your base desires. He stood up, arching his back, then shaking the frozen slop off his fur.
But it's so cold.
Before I could register the movement, he jumped right beside me, then licked the top of my head with his sandpaper tongue.
And you taste so delicious. You are weak, injured. You'll be dead soon anyhow. Why not let me eat you? At least then your death won't be in vain.
I didn't dare move a muscle that close to the cat's mouth. One swift bite across my neck, and negotiations would be over. Don't you realize I am a king? I have others, a whole host, waiting for me. And let me tell you, Puss, they will find me. The cat sat back on his haunches, holding his belly with his paws.
Look here, the mighty king of the sparrows. Where are your subjects, my king? Where are your soldiers? What a devoted people to leave you stranded in the snow.
Royals must be patient. Empires aren't built on rash decisions, and impulsive behavior isn't dignified. Still, there is a point of pride that sticks with any king worth his salt. The suggestion his people are anything less than devoted. If this monochrome cat thought he could insult my host, then he wasn't worth negotiating with, regardless of what fate he intended for me. Eat me if you must, but don't dare speak against them. Eat me so I can peck out your eyes while you swallow me down.
I believe you would. But why defend your people when they've left you to winter's rage?
They are misled, I fear. I hope to find them so I can kill my betrayer before he leads them to ruin. If you let me live, and if I succeed in my mission, I will find a way to return the favor.
What could a sparrow do for a cat?
Remember, I am a king, not a simple sparrow. My subjects are my limbs who do my will in the world. Separate from them, I am weak. Together, we are more powerful than any single cat could ever hope to be.
Good luck, King Sparrow. May you find your subjects and your revenge, and may your repayment to me be swift.
The cat twirled around, whipping his tail across my beak as he trotted off into the forest with his undercarriage in full display. Rude, but considering he'd spared me, I had little room to complain about the view. I rested and considered what the cat had said. Maybe he was right. Were my subjects truly devoted to me? Or was it a ruse? Surely Captain Sparrow would have needed help to stage his betrayal. Maybe Squire Sparrow helped him, distracting me while he conferred with the beasts. Maybe my beloved queen played me for a fool, doting on the captain as she plotted my demise. I recalled the look in her eyes mere hours before. Those soft black things, those precious orbs that revealed true intentions. Voices can lie, but eyes can't. Not really. My queen was devoted, and this was my captain's plan, whole and true. How dare that bastard make me doubt her? Well rested, I continued, heading south across the woods as new snow began to fall. My injured wing felt at times both heavy and wholly separate from myself, like I was dragging a log beside me. I tried to enjoy a moment's relief from my pain, but it worried me, truly. Was my wing dying? Would it fall off before I could act? I'd seen birds with wing injuries before. Cook Sparrow, who fetched seeds for me when I was a fledgling, suffered from a wing injury once. As much as my father cared for him, he became too hefty a burden on the kingdom. When winter came that year, we left him behind to fend for himself. He was dead weight to the host. I never saw him again, but I presume he died. If I caught up to my hosts, would they demand I suffer the same fate? A dark vignette overlaid my vision, blacker and blacker, until the white landscape seemed sullen and gray. I wavered along my path, weaving back and forth like a drunken rat. Despite my resolve, my progress slowed. The path blurred in front of me. I could feel burning heat behind my eyes, running down my body, aiming to slow me down so I could rest, or aiming to kill me. Hard to say. The fever took hold. My mind lied to me, painting my nightmares as visions to confuse me. Queen Sparrow, Squire Sparrow, Captain Sparrow, with his knowing sneer, his dark, sullen eyes, laughing as I fell, pushing me down into the snow. Darker, darker, cold and wet. I awoke to a mouse nipping at my heel. The wind blew cold across the frozen ground, the comfortable, frozen ground. It would have been easy to stop, easy to rest, as death consumed me. But something in me wouldn't let me stop. The royal amber burned behind my breast, the yearning for revenge. I pressed on. The sun set. The snow fell again, harder this time. I couldn't feel my feet or my wing or even my head. It seemed like I was floating down the path, not walking it. I thought myself a spirit for a moment. But a spirit can fly, and here I was, glued to the ground, weighted to the ground by a dying wing. As the night settled in, I spied an orange flicker through the trees. Hope, or at least a visible goal to drive me forward. As I approached it, I saw light through glass. This was a person place made with dead trees. Person places didn't welcome birds. Still, it might be a shelter from the cold. I sauntered past the tree line. I saw a white flash. The pain cut through my wing, cut like a claw, piercing the cold numb ache. My mind screamed at me to be the king my father raised me to be, strong, determined, even in the face of defeat. I stumbled, fell, saw the snow drifting past my eyes as my breath grew short. A shadow, a short, round figure emerged from the cabin. It was a female person. Her white hair told me she was well advanced in years. She stood outside her home, blowing hot breath like steam out her nose as she lit her pipe, then puffed on it. She seemed kind. I let out a sullen tweet. The woman's head perked up at the sound.
What has become of you, little bird?
As for me, my vision was flooded in white. Then the world grew dark. The last thing I saw was her leaning over me.
Oh dear.
This moment felt like the end of me. I felt my spirit leaving my body, like a rainbow bleeding out on the ground. As the woman's wrinkled hands lifted me from the snow, I hoped she wouldn't blame herself for my death, and maybe say a few words before tossing me back into the woods. That was the first sound I heard when I awoke. Rhythmic, soft. I couldn't see where it was coming from, but wherever I was, it was warm, and for that, I was thankful. Had I traveled to the great nest in the sky they'd taught me about when I was a fledgling? Was I stuck in the snow forever in the never-ending second before death? Was the sound my heartbeat? By and by, my vision returned, and I found myself staring at raw wooden planks bound together with thick burlap straps. I turned my head to find a hulking figure in a seat below me, rocking by the fire as the thing tapped two shiny sticks together between its paws. Was it a person? It had to be. I recalled the old woman who found me before I fell asleep. This must be her. She'd brought me to her person place. I wasn't sure if she intended to save me, or help me, or if she'd brought me here to roast me over the open flame in her wall. It didn't matter either way. If she meant to eat me, I'd rather not be eaten. And if she meant to save me, getting her human scent embedded in my feathers wasn't the best way to accomplish it. Too long here, and my host might not recognize my scent. I needed out. I tried to flip over onto my belly, but something was holding me down. I found a brown fibrous cord strapped across my chest, pinning me to the soft white puffball I laid on. My bonds pulled on my bad wing, which was covered in a semi-hard clay. Pain rushed through it. Despite my stealthy ambitions, I let out a chirp. The giantess whipped her head around, baring her mammal teeth at me as she scrunched up her nose. She spoke to me in her human tongue, too complex for any animal to master, as if she were luring me in.
Well, look who decided to wake up. How are you, little one?
She rose, setting down her shiny sticks and blue rope on her seat, then shuffled over to my side.
Oh my goodness. I'm so glad you're up and moving. When I found you in the snow, I thought you were a goner, little birdie bee. I'm so glad you're up and moving, although that wing looks infected.
She reached out her finger, stroking the bridge of my beak. I snipped at her.
No biting.
Terrified, I pulled my head down into my body, then braced for her attack.
It's okay, birdie bee. I know you don't mean it.
I couldn't fight back. I was trapped, powerless as I waited for the fatal blow. She opened her mouth to show off more of those vicious teeth, then made a noise that almost sounded like a laugh. But humans didn't laugh, or so my father had always told me. Maybe she was choking on a morsel of food left over in her mouth from the evening meal. Maybe, despite my condition, I'd somehow managed to scare her. She turned around, back to the chair, sticks, blue rope, and fire. I remained in my spot, watching the flames lick at her ankles as she rocked. At some point, I fell asleep. When the sun hit me in the eyes the next morning, my head jerked away, sending a fresh bolt of pain through my wing. I screamed. A shadow moved in the periphery of my vision. The giantess stood by my makeshift bed, hooking her finger under my beak to stroke it. Her mouth moved, but I couldn't make any sense of her grumblings.
Be calm, little birdie. Mama will take care of you. Don't worry.
I can't understand you, you wicked giant. I'd met people before. They were always aggressive, but backed down to any bird who'd show a little gumption. I'll pick your brains through your eyes. Don't try me. Her mouth pulled up at the corners, baring her teeth as if she were ready to devour me.
Come here, precious little fella.
I braced myself, expecting her to rend my body in two with her yellow, disjointed fangs. I closed my eyes. Who would want to bear witness to their guts being devoured? No bite came. Peculiar. What happened next was more peculiar still. This creature, this person, tweeted like a sparrow. I understood her as clear as I'd understood Captain Sparrow the day he'd tricked me in the woods.
Rest easy, pretty bird. Who cut your eye?
How could she know our sparrow language? I convinced myself it must be a trick, some sick joke. You have truly gone mad. You are fevered, delusional.
Oh, dear pretty bird. It's all right. You're safe here.
Her eyes were kind. Perhaps baring teeth was what passed for a smile for her and her kin.
What sad tragedy befell you?
None of your business, giant. What is your name?
Lucy.
She reached over with her bony, wrinkled fingers and undid the knot holding me to the bed.
And what is your name, pretty bird?
I am a king, Lucy. Or at least, I used to be.
A sparrow king?
I saw a sparkle in her eyes as she drew her hands to her chest, rubbing them together over her heart.
How delightful. But a king needs a kingdom. Where might yours be?
I wasn't anxious to share my sad tale yet again. A king's business is his own. She closed her eyes and nodded her head, wiping a single tear away as it slid down her cheek.
Of course, Your Majesty. You may rest here as long as you need. Don't worry. I won't pry again. I only wish to see you fly through the air back in good health. Now, if Your Majesty is willing, I have some bandages and things here. Let's patch up your wing and get some liniments on that eye.
I will. Permit you to try. But no tricks.
Oh, I'm a tricky witch. But no tricks for you, my king.
Soon enough, my wing was wrapped clean. She'd dipped some green medicine down my gullet.
Hold still, my little king.
Then some stinging stuff dabbed on my eye with a cotton ball.
A little medicine never hurt anybody.
And she left me to rest. Rest I did. When I awoke again, she was sleeping. I didn't bother her. Days passed. Every morning, she'd change the bandages on my wing and give me my medicine. I was taken to moods, brought on by the constant buzzing pain. Angry words flowed out as the pain worked its way through me, but she'd simply laugh and continue about her tasks.
Who knew a grown king could be such a baby?
She viewed me and respected me as a king, but treated me like a mother, making sure I kept to the path that would lead me to wellness.
That's it. Up and down, up and down. Well done. Your wing will be strong soon, my cute little king.
If I didn't know better, Lucy, I'd think you were mocking me.
I am indeed mocking you, my little king, but only because I know you can take it.
By and by, I could stand on my own again.
You're standing.
Of course I am. You are a talented nurse, Lucy. Soon after, I could move my wing without much pain.
I don't think you need this anymore, Your Majesty.
She said as she pulled off my old bandage like she'd done so many mornings before. I looked down. She was right. The feathers were still a bit matted, but my injured wing moved as smoothly as my good one. I could move with confidence again, as a king should.
It's nearly back to normal.
And how would you know what is normal, Lucy? You've never seen me fly.
I can just picture it. I'm sure you're a skilled flyer, my king.
Why, I command a whole host, sending them this way and that with a wave. You would have loved it. Lucy scooped me up and set me down on a high shelf.
Please, show me. Come, pretty bird, show me how far you can soar.
If I aimed to recapture my kingdom, I needed to exceed expectations. She wanted me to fly across the room. I'd escape from the room and never stop flying. I focused on the shelf's edge. I imagined I was already in the air, connected to it, part of it, yet moving through it. I imagined I was a fish in the water, a fox running across the plains. I ran hard and fast at the edge. I felt a twinge shoot through my wing. I hesitated, attempted to stop, but there was no time. I slipped over the edge, falling toward the cabin's dirt floor.
My king.
Lucy ran toward me, cupping her hands under me as she jumped. Seeing her throw herself on the ground shocked my senses. Many sparrows had risked their lives for me, but they were honor-bound. This woman, she'd nursed me back from the brink, cared for me, all without asking for anything in return. And here I was, falling through the air. How could my body betray me so? It couldn't, I decided. I pushed my bad wing up and down, then matched speed with my good one. I felt the wind gliding over my wings as is right and proper and good. I flew through the air like I had 1,000 times before. Tuck in, bank left, tilt up, like 1,000 times before. Like 1,000 times ahead. A lap around the room.
What a wonderful bird you are. Well done.
I landed in her outstretched hands, then saluted her with my good wing.
How fantastic. See, I knew you were healed.
You'll leave me all alone soon enough. Will you try to find your friends?
You would do well to mind your own business, Lucy. She turned away, crossing her arms across her smeared apron.
Pardon me, Your Majesty.
Have mercy on me, my lord, for all the care I provided you. How dare I ask where you've come from after making sure you'll return there? What a stupid old woman I am.
She was right. She deserved to hear my story more than most. But just because one deserves something doesn't mean you should give it to them for nothing. No. If I was going to reveal my past, I should require a piece of hers first. Answer my question first, then I'll tell you my story. She smiled, stroking my chin with her pinky.
What's your question?
How is it you speak Sparrow? My father, nor his father's father, nor any sparrow I've met has known a person who could whistle like you do. Lucy ran across the room, retrieving a small wooden box from a low shelf. She brought it over to me, cracked the top open to reveal a pile of white bones, which she pushed around to retrieve an odd porous cone. She held it before me, and at once I recognized what it was. A bird's skull, stripped of flesh and veins and brains. Horrified, I pushed back against the wall. Was this the trick, then? Did she nurse me back to health only to add me to her collection of bird carcasses? No. I saw a tear in her eye.
When I was a small girl, in a town called Everly, I had a pet bird. This pet bird, his name is Donald.
We did everything together. He'd sit on my shoulder in the schoolhouse. then sit on the clothesline when I brought the clothes in for Mama. Me and Mama, we both had the gift, talking to birds. Every woman born in Everly has a gift. It's a magical place. I think you'll see it someday, King Sparrow.
Most women, like Mama, keep the gifts of the land to themselves, a secret they never share. Me? I suppose I just like talking to birds.
My Donald was a funny bird. When I started talking to him, he'd get so confused, like I was impossible. Like you, just now. When he realized I understood him, he was so excited. It wasn't long until Donald and I were having long, deep conversations. He was special.
It appears his teaching days are far behind him.
Donald was my best friend, the only one who offered to stay with me when I left Everly all those years ago.
What horrible fate befell him?
No tragic fate,
She said, petting the skull before putting it back in the box.
He died an old bird shortly after we arrived here from Everly. Some days I wonder if Donald ever spoke to me at all. Then I'd walk to the edge of the wood and whistle, and the birds would answer me.
and I'd know it was all true. Every wonderful moment. It's a comfort to talk to somebody. A rare occurrence for an old woman living alone in the woods.
Her price paid. Time now for me to confess my story. I started at the betrayal, but when my Queen Sparrow entered the conversation, we circled back to our first meeting, our courtship, and our marriage. And thanks to that weasel, my Queen Sparrow and I finally completed our first royal nest.
What a funny tale, my king.
Lucy's face glowed as I shared our love story with her. It's like most love stories you already know, but it's more important than the other ones because it's ours. And then he sent these beasts after me and flew away with my queen. By the time I touched on Captain Sparrow leading my queen away, Lucy was sobbing openly. So was I. She held me as we wept together. She called me Donald once or twice. I didn't correct her. A few days later, as the light bled through the curtains, she banged on the window with her knitting needle and let off a shrill whistle.
Rise and shine, my king, the thaw is on. Quick, before more snow falls.
What are you talking about?
You're well, aren't you? You can fly?
I suppose.
If you can fly, then it's time you were on your way. The only thing keeping you here was the cold, and it broke.
I'm not well yet, I offered, poking my bad wing, which hadn't given me pain in days.
You're well enough,
she said, scooping up her broom and shooing me off the ledge with its straw bristles. Lucy, Lucy, I will not allow this. I am a king.
Then behave like a king. For your queen. With bravery. With purpose.
How dare you?
Oh, I dare, your majesty. Your queen is out there waiting on you. Who knows what that nasty captain has done to her while you've been sitting here with me? While I've waited on you wing and foot? What sort of king would rest now?
She was right. I'd never lost a battle, not until Captain Sparrow betrayed me. No matter. What else could I do now but to find my queen? What better purpose than rescue? And what better reward than revenge? Would you like to see a king fly? She smiled, scooped me up, then ran me out the cabin's front door, still in her nightgown. Outside, I saw the snow was gone, for the most part. A million melting drops echoed through the trees. I spied squirrels hopping between the branches. Lucy brought me to her mouth and gave me a kiss on the head.
This is a gift from me to your queen when you find her.
Who's to say I will?
How could the mighty King Sparrow fail?
Will she even recognize me with the slash across my eye? Will she even know me?
Love helps others see past our flaws.
Lucy's eyes glowed, the air grew cold, and I felt a bit of what you might call magic travel from her fingertip into my chest. What was that?
A beacon, a wish, a hope, a spell, you might call it. Wherever you go, whatever trials you have left to face, my spell will ensure you find your Queen Sparrow, your host, and a new place to call home.
Where, Lucy? Where can I take them where Captain Sparrow won't find us?
That's what the spell was for, to guide you across the fields of Ohio until you find your new home in my old home. Your heart will guide you to Everly.
Are you ready, pretty bird?
Scared as always, but don't tell anybody else. She threw me into the air.
Farewell, my king. May you find your queen and your kingdom in Everly.
I flapped my wings as hard as I could, wobbling in the air as I gained altitude. As soon as I was airborne, I could feel Lucy's spell pulling me east, toward my queen, toward Everly, toward a new home for all of us. I said a silent prayer for Lucy, wishing for her to find all the kindness and love the world had to offer. Faster then, I flew on, ever closer to finding my queen and finding my host. And one day, perhaps, my trials would end. But today, onward. Head to EverlyHeights.tv or your podcast platform of choice in 1 week for the thrilling conclusion of the Trials of King Sparrow. Part 2, The Magic Castle.